Hi there, I'm Robert John Hadfield. I'm the owner of Thick and Mystic Media, and here we are today in the Thick and Mystic production studio. And wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about sound and specifically microphones, and specifically this microphone. One of the conversations we have with people a lot is about sound, and if your sound isn't any good, then your video's no good. You have to have decent sound. Now, what I'm doing right now, you're listening to me through the camera. And I'm doing this on purpose because I want to show you the difference between how a camera sounds and how a microphone like this sounds. Now, we do a lot of social media, and we encourage all of our customers to be continually using social media and create videos with whatever you have, whether it's your phone or whether you've purchased a camera like this. You need to be doing it. But I want to demonstrate to you the difference between the audio on a camera that right now is sitting about 4 feet away from me. Now keep in mind, this is a Panasonic Lumix GH5S, which is actually a really nice camera. And it probably sounds okay. You can hear me very clearly. And part of the reason is we're in a very controlled environment. It's quiet in here. But you'll probably notice, especially when you compare it to this, that it's a little bit tinny. The further you get away from a microphone, you actually kind of lose that body, the body of your voice, the bigness of it, and it starts sounding tinny. Even though you can hear me clearly, you're definitely getting a little bit of that. And you can probably also hear a little bit of reverb or something coming from the room. And that's very typical of a camera or a phone. And why we talk about this, we don't want to discourage you from doing your social media posts using whatever you have. We just want to point out how important it is to take some time every once in a while to go into a studio like this and get something that sounds really, really good, because it's going to set you apart from the other people, from your competitors, from the other people in your field. It's going to set you apart. It's going to make you look a little bit more professional when you have that really, really high quality sound. Now, this particular microphone is what we call a condenser microphone. There's really two main kind of microphones you need to be thinking about. One is a condenser microphone, and the other one's a dynamic microphone. A condenser microphone actually is powered. It requires power for it to work. And this is an example of that. And you can see from this camera over here, you might be able to see that there's a little green light. And what that green light is showing you is which pattern that this is set. And I'll explain that in a minute. I don't know if you can see it from this other camera, but there's a couple of green lights on here too. That means that this thing's powered. Now, what powers it is actually, it comes through the XLR cable, the microphone cable. And if you look at on your mixer, your preamp, you'll see something that says either 48, 48V, or Phantom. This is powered by something called phantom power. And it's basically 48 volts are creating power in this. And that's how this microphone works. Where a dynamic microphone, the kind that you normally see that's handheld, that's a little bit of a different type of microphone, and it doesn't require phantom power. It just works. But the difference is a condenser microphone like this is way dramatically more sensitive than a dynamic handheld microphone. A dynamic microphone requires a lot of pressure, it requires a lot of sound, but this doesn't require as much. So for example, you probably wouldn't put this in front of a guitar amp, but you would take a dynamic microphone and put it in front of a guitar amp because it's extremely loud. This is not good for that type of an application. You might use once again, you'll use a dynamic microphone for handheld situations, but you wouldn't use this. These are primarily for studio settings. Condenser microphones are, and one of the things, and I'll show you here from this camera if you can see this. This microphone, by the way, is an AKG C414. It's an XLII, but the AKG C414 is a workhorse. These are standard microphones. You go to almost any studio in the world, you're going to find at least one of these and maybe a whole bunch of them, because they've been around for a long, long time. The standard C414, I think, usually has a silver cover, but this XLII has this gold look. They made a couple of little improvements for the XLII, but it's still fundamentally the same microphone. And these, once again, can be used for a wide variety of things, but But the difference, once again, with a condenser microphone as opposed to a dynamic microphone is you're going to hear things all over. It's very, very sensitive. It's for getting detail. It's for getting little bits of that extra detail. For example, if somebody was sitting over here on the other side of the room and whispering, you might even pick that up. And it's one of the reasons why, I mean, if there were noises going on in other buildings or a car driving outside, it would probably pick that up right now. Where a dynamic microphone wouldn't. The sound is in much smaller space for a dynamic microphone. So anyway, getting back to this. If you look here on the front of this microphone, you'll see all these little shapes. What these shapes are is these are patterns, pickup patterns for the microphone. And you can change them. There's two primary patterns that people use with these. One of them is this circle, which you'll see over there on the left. And then the other one is here in the middle, and it looks kind of like a half circle with a little dimple in it. What these patterns tell you is how the microphone is going to pick up sound when you have it set. When it's set at the circle, it means that it's going to be picking up sound equally all the way around the microphone. When you take it at this kind of half circle that has a little dimple, basically you're not getting much sound back here. And the way the pattern works is it kind of starts picking up more sound as it comes around, then it picks up a lot of sound out here, and then it goes back and it doesn't pick up much sound in the back. That's what that pattern is for. And so it's made specifically for sounds coming right at it right here. So that's what those patterns are for, and these microphones will frequently have those options. And those two that I just mentioned are the standard things you'll see in most microphones like this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this windscreen in front of it. This is a standard kind of thing when you're using, especially when you're using a condenser microphone, because part of the reason a dynamic microphone, like I said a second ago, requires a little more pressure to get sound. Because this doesn't, you need a windscreen in front of it to stop the p and the b. Matter of fact, even in a dynamic microphone, you've probably seen people holding microphones and they speak into it, and when they say a sound with a b or a p, you'll hear the speakers kind of go thud. And if you get that out of one of these microphones, and also dynamic microphones if it happens on those too, and you listen to it in some studio speakers, you'll hear that really low end boom, boom, boom whenever that happens. Well, what this windscreen does a couple different things. One of the things that keeps me from spitting on the microphone, water is never good for electronics, but more importantly, what it does is it prevents me from popping it. So when I blow into my hand, I can feel the air. There's no way I can obviously show you this, but I want to give you the idea. When I move my hand in front of this little windscreen and blow, I can't really feel it, very, very little. It knocks out about 95% of the air pressure that comes out of your mouth. That's what its purpose is. So I can put this in front of this microphone, and it won't completely get rid of the b and the p, but it'll get pretty close. And it'll get rid of a lot of that, just the wind noise that comes out of my mouth. And that's what the purpose of these, when you see these in front of condenser microphones, what it's doing. It's trying to stop that. Now you can use these in front of dynamic microphones as well, and they will help. But anyway, that's the purpose behind this. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip over from the camera microphone over to this condenser microphone so you can hear the difference between the two and get an understanding of the dramatic change in audio when you use a really nice microphone. Okay, now I'm talking into this microphone, and you'll notice something. You can hear all the little details. You can hear the little growls. You can hear my lips smacking together. So actually, by the way, that's one of the reasons when I talk to people about doing voiceover work, always keep water handy and always drink a lot of water before you do anything, because these microphones will pick up all those little noises in your mouth. And it's a kind of an awful sound when you're listening to somebody's tongue inside their mouth. It starts sticking when you're a little bit dehydrated. So now, once again, when I'm really close to this microphone, you can hear great detail in what I'm doing. And you can hear that little bit of growl, and even when I whisper, You can hear what's going on. You can hear it very, very clearly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up a little bit. Like I said, one of the beauties of this, as opposed to a dynamic microphone, the further you get away from it, you won't hear as much. So if I'm holding a dynamic microphone and a car drives by out front, you probably won't hear it. This one you will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up a couple of feet and you'll be able to hear the difference. So here I'm a couple of feet away and you can still hear the microphone. And you can still hear it pretty clearly. Like I said a little while ago, if you don't have good audio, your video doesn't matter. Everybody in this industry understands that idea. And so it's very important wherever you can to make sure that you have really good audio. Now, we encourage you to come into the studio and let us record you and let us do some videos that you can use to supplement all of the other things that you do with your iPhone or with the camera that you purchased. And so once again, this is what it sounds like in a nice condenser microphone in a studio. Now here at Thick and Mystic, we have a whole bunch of microphones. We have a wide variety of dynamic microphones. We have a wide variety of condenser microphones as well that cover a bunch of different needs. And different microphones have different personalities. And so this one, like I said though, this C414 is a workhorse. It's very, very common in the industry. Anybody that does audio production or works in a studio in the industry is going to be familiar with this microphone. And we have these kinds of things available for you to use when you come into the studio. Hope you found that interesting. And that is a condenser microphone, AKG C414 XLII. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and make any comments that you have below. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, you can also reach our studio at thickandmystic.com. There's a bunch of phone numbers, different ways to call us and message us and what have you. We'd love to talk to you and we'd love to help you out with your projects.